been in the UK IT industry for about 25 years. I started actually as a software developer. So myself and my colleagues, we did the first ever unified messaging solution, which was patented and then about 3 years later bought by Lucent. So if you have a kind of a Lucent Avaya voicemail unified messaging solution, it's probably still got some of my code in there. So kind of innovation and launching new products and ideas has always been in kind of my DNA and what I like to do. So when I joined Abellio and I opened my job description and I saw innovation, I thought, really? Railway industry, public transport innovation? That just doesn't really make sense. So that was back in April. But let me tell you a bit about Abellio, and then I'll explain to you a bit more what we do about innovation. So we are, as you can see, present in 3 countries. We are bidding for some services in Sweden, which we only just started, so hopefully that will happen very soon. We're a Dutch company. We're actually owned by Dutch Railways. So we're the private arm of Dutch Railways, so we can bid for public transport in other countries. So if you live in London, we run 8% of the buses in London and Surrey, so hopefully you use the services. If you live in East Anglia and Essex, I apologize. We do those. It hasn't been very good in the last couple of months, but we're trying to improve. We also do Merseyrail travel in Northern in a JV with Circle. Actually, these were the 2 first businesses we got in the UK. We do buses and trams in the Netherlands. We're also expanding very quickly in Germany. So in Germany, Deutsche Bahn runs all the intercity trains, and they will for a long time. But the regional train industry has been liberalized, and we're winning more and more business. And actually, we're going to go from our size now to 3 times the size in the next 2 years. And we want enough business that we have to put in place to do so. And finally, we just won ScotRail. So we won this. So that was awarded last month. It's worth. It's a 10-year franchise. It's worth about £6 billion over 10 years. And today we'll talk about how we can keep the momentum of innovation going when we're going to be very, very, very busy in the next 4 months mobilizing IT for ScotRail. So it's a deadline we cannot miss. Okay, so the 1st of April, we have to take over whatever happens. And there's a lot of, as you can imagine, IT that we have to do. So they have 4,500 staff. There are about 50 IT contracts. A lot more systems than 50 systems. We're going to go live. And then, of course, there's a lot more committed obligations that we have to do after April. So a lot of ideas that we included in our bid that we have to go live with. And the idea of those is to deliver improvement in terms of operations, passenger experience, and so on. So the challenge is, so how do you keep your foot on the ground, the foot on the pedal, on the gas, to move ahead with your innovation initiatives while you have such a big IT program of work at the same time? And I'll go back to the innovation thing, because when I joined Abellio in April and I read the job description, I said, what kind of innovation do you do in the rail industry? And I'll come back to that in a minute, because it surprised me actually quite a lot. So one of the first things I did when I joined is take a very key decision around my IT organization. So and how we're going to work with the business. And all the speakers have spoken about being close to the business, understanding the business challenges and what the business wants to deliver. When you bid for a franchise in the UK, there's a team which is actually quite large. In our case, it's about 150 people who spend all the time thinking about how are we going to win this franchise. Okay, and they are amazing at coming up with new ideas and new innovation. So this is kind of the hothouse of innovation within Abellio. And actually, my CEO, whose name I would try to pronounce because it's Dutch. So it's Jeff Hoegestegger. He was giving a presentation last week for the rail industry, and he said, "Be in no doubt that the white-hot environment of a franchise bid is a wonderfully effective process for driving improvement." Because every time we bid, every time we submit a bid to the DFT or Transport Scotland, they will always look for how we're going to improve the service that we're going to offer. And going from A to B is fine with the trains, and you can buy the trains, you can make them more sexy and so on. But actually, how are you going to improve your service? So I decided to put in place a group digital function as part of the IT organization. And during the planning process, this bidding process, it's embedded within that bidding team. They work very closely with them, and our role is to focus on the technology-based innovation. Okay, there's a lot of innovation around restructuring of the business, for example, or back-end processes and so on, but we focus on the technology. And a lot of these ideas are conceptual, okay, at that very early stage. So the technology usually exists. Now we don't do any IP development. We don't develop things from scratch, widgets. What we do is we take lots of different ideas and put them together, and we come up with a plan on how we can integrate the technology, how we would implement it in the new franchise, and of course how and if it would benefit the passenger and the operations. So it's a key function, the group digital function. By reporting to the CIO, but being embedded in the business, we can work together. And I think that's, again, the message that's been shared by other speakers. But what it also does from an IT organization perspective, and that's actually where I kind of disagree with you, but maybe because it's a different model, is that there's a clear ownership between I run IT operations and I do innovation, okay? And in my view, this separation ensures that these two functions are as important as each other, okay? So during a very busy period when we have to mobilize ScotRail and we have to put in place all the heavy-duty IT operations required for ScotRail, there's someone whose job it is to do that, and they don't really have to worry about all the innovation projects that we have going on at the same time. And of course, don't forget, it's not just ScotRail, we also have all the other operating companies that we have to continue managing IT for. At the same time, the innovation area of the IT organization can continue focusing on delivering the innovation. And it's very, very important because after we finish the bidding process that we have with ideas, we have to go away and make sure they actually work. Because if they go in a bid and we win the franchise, we have to deliver those. And if we don't deliver, then we get usually we get financial penalty, which actually we want to avoid that. And there's a second reason why I decided to have two different functions doing those two different things, because I actually think the competencies for the two functions and the leadership roles in those two functions are quite different. So IT operations requires strong process, best practice, managing large IT. Whereas this requires people who are at the forefront of new technology. They think very digitally. They can visualize how technology can benefit the business, and actually they can communicate the business benefits to the business as well. So there's also something else. Actually, the people who do innovation, they get bored very easily. They have about a 6-month span when they do something. And then they go, okay, so now I need to move to something else because that was very exciting, but it's now not very exciting. Whereas when you do big IT, the span is many years rather than just 6 months. So that brings me nicely to my next point, which is it's great coming up with new ideas during the bid. So what do you do next? So what we did is we have a process which has been discussed. We pick 3 or 4 of those initiatives, the most important ones, and we do those with the business. It's not just an IT thing. Then we go to the board and say, hello, we need some of your money. And I agree, absolutely, you do not need a lot of money. We said we need some money. So we actually only asked for £100,000 for the 4 proof of concepts we're doing right now. And we set up and run those proof of concepts. These are short, 6-month projects, okay? Very light in terms of IT governance. So yes, there's a kind of a project wrapper around it to make sure that we're doing something and it's not, we're not wasting money. We can take decisions on where the project is going to go and so on. But really, it allows us, the proof of concepts allow us to understand how we would implement, support those new digital innovations in a live operational environment. And also we want to understand the business case and the return on investment of anything we do. So it's a very, very important proof of concept process. So, and it's also very important to agree with the board what success looks like. And when you're doing technology innovation, success can mean failure, right? So I will show an example later on where we tried to implement new technology, and actually it's impossible at this point in time anyway. So it's very important to say that is not failure of the proof of concept, that's a proof of concept succeeding in showing that technology is not mature enough yet. So what ideas have we tested in the past few months? Let me give you a couple of examples. And just to say that we are just about to finish them. One, they were both a success. One is more of a success than the other. And one of them will actually be implementing in ScotRail in the next few months. So the first one is media on trains. So if you're using any of our services or any of the other services, I'm pretty sure that apart from going from A to B, you want additional services. For example, Wi-Fi. And you will know that Wi-Fi on trains does not work. Okay? And it doesn't work because we don't have the technology. It works because the railway lines are nowhere near any of the masts. Right? So the signal isn't very good. So we thought, okay, so how do we fix this? Right? So we thought, well, actually, instead of fixing the issue, what about solving the problem, which is the passengers on the train, they want to be occupied. They want something to do while they're on the train. So we trialed and we will be implementing a Sky Plus, Virgin TiVo type technology where as a passenger, you'll be able to use your smartphone or your laptop or your iPad, whatever it is, and you'll be able to consume media directly from a local media server, full high def. You'll be able to view your websites, which of course have been pre-downloaded and cached. You'll be able to watch movies. You'll be able to listen to music. You'll be able to buy tickets, order food, do retail shopping, and all those kind of things that you want to do. So we are not solving the issue of the Wi-Fi, which we know we can't right now because it's not. It's actually we're offering a different service, which actually solves a problem. So we had to answer some key questions. Is there an appetite from our passengers for this kind of service? Yes, we did a market research, and they all said we want something on your trains to do that. Technically, will it work? A train environment is very different from a home environment. And for example, we're having trouble with power supplies and so on, but we fixed those, so technically it's going to work. And does it make commercial sense? That's the final question. And actually, we've done a lot of modeling, and we have a lot of very powerful modelers within our B team. And yes, we can make it pay, basically, which is very good. And so the second proof of concept is station remote monitoring control. So basically using the Internet of Things and IP enabling our stations so we can remotely manage and control our stations. Turning on and off the lights, shutting gates, finding out when something's about to break, and so on. And it's been very tough because actually what we're finding is that the technology is not mature enough for us to be able to do this. And so the proof of concept has been successful because we know that it's too early to try and actually adopt some of these technologies. But unfortunately, the technology test itself hasn't been successful, and we'll be revisiting this proof of concept in probably 6 to 9 months' time. So part of the process involves keeping the board up to date. They get very excited by new toys and technology. So I go and present our updates to the board every month. And what we've actually done is we've set up kind of an area within our office where they can go and touch and feel and get first-hand experience of those proof of concepts we are running, because they can see it in real time. They can go, this is where my money is going. I can see it's moving forward, or I can see the challenge you're having, and they love it. To the point that our CEO last week in the Future of Rail conference spoke for half an hour just about the innovation that we're doing. So that's very, very good. So, because I know Brian is showing me the 0 minutes left. Yes. Very quickly. So a few points basically to finish. So So identify an area of function within your organization that's best suited to work with on innovation. Make sure there's clear differentiation, in my mind anyway, between what part of your team does innovation, what part of your team does business as usual IT. Unless you're developing your own IP, innovation works best in short time frames and time scales. Proof of concepts work because they can show you actually something in practice and you can test it. Clearly define what success looks like. It's very important. And finally, make sure you keep innovating. So it's not a one-time thing, as many people have said. So what I'm doing for next year, from January, I'm actually challenging myself and my team, and I'm putting a big percentage of our bonus is based on running 4 more innovation projects, proof of concepts, and take them through the whole process again. Because that's the way of challenging people. And I think that's -1 minute. So I will stop now. Thank you very much.